Lethal TikTok craze. Chroming is killing teens as dad of tragic teen warns kids can die in an instant. Holding the hand of his dead daughter, devastated dad Paul Green told her how much he loved her. Hours earlier, the 14-year-old, who was autistic and had sensory needs, had been out shopping with her mum Claire and stocked up on her favorite deodorant. When she got home, she sprayed the fragrance around the room, but it proved fatal. She was found dead in her bed, wrapped in a blanket she had covered with the scent. Now her heartbroken parents are warning other families about the dangers of aerosols as a new craze, dubbed chroming, sweeps social media. It refers to inhaling fumes from a toxic source, which doctors warn can cause loss of consciousness, potentially fatal asphyxiation, and heart attacks. There has been a rise in Gen Z experimenting with solvent abuse, widespread in Britain in the late 80s and early 90s, with an expert likening it to cheap cannabis. While George's death was a tragic accident, electrician Paul, 55, and administrator Claire, 54, are calling on manufacturers to put bigger warning labels on cans to make parents more aware they can kill, so that more youngsters don't suffer the same fate. Paul told The Sun, "I sat in hospital, holding my daughter's hand, and I couldn't believe what had happened. I could barely speak. My baby was gone." TikTok has been forced to remove a dangerous chroming challenge after it claimed the life of 13-year-old Australian girl, Esra Haynes, in March this year. Paul said, "Georgia might not have died under the same circumstances as Esra in Australia, but we found it very upsetting that someone had died from the same product. I really worry about this becoming a social media trend because people can die in an instant. That's what's so scary about aerosols. Everyone has a limit as to how much of any toxic substance the body can withstand. All it takes is to go a tiny bit over your tolerance level and you can end up like Georgia. We knew Georgia liked to spray around if she felt a bit anxious because it gave her a sense of comfort. But we had no idea just how lethal it could be. By law, aerosol deodorants must be printed with a 'keep out of reach of children' warning, but Paul suggests the writing is too small. Many people don't notice the warning, so don't realize how dangerous the contents of those tins can be," he said. "We want to make it so no one else in the country, or the world, goes what we've been through. We don't want our daughter's death to be in vain." By law, aerosol deodorants must be printed with a 'keep out of reach of children' warning, but Paul suggests the right warning so don't realize how dangerous the contents of those tins can be, he said. "We want to make it so no one else in the country, or the world, goes what we brother Corey, 30, to a doctor's appointment. They left her at home for independence. But when they returned home, Corey couldn't wake his sister for a drumming lesson and raised the alarm. As paramedics tried desperately to save her life, Paul was just 5 minutes from their home after getting a weird feeling while working 12 miles away. He said, "I just had this really weird feeling in my stomach, so packed up my stuff and started heading home. I was about 5 minutes away when Claire called me in a panicked state, and when I got to the house the street was sealed off and I thought, this is serious. I ran upstairs and on the landing I could see the paramedics working on Georgia. She was taken to the Royal Derby Hospital, where Paul said his tearful goodbye. Claire was too distraught to go." An inquest into Georgia's death ruled the homeschooled teen died from misadventure after inhaling aerosol at her home. Stark warning. Stephen Ream, director of the Resolve charity, warned youngsters against chroming. Crazes or challenges seem to flare up locally and a friendship group might have a go, then some people find they like it and carry on inhaling secretly. It gives users short-term obliteration but sobers you up very quickly, so some people see it as a quick way to escape any problems in their life. We often see it in young people who are really struggling with family issues. It's very dangerous. It's flammable, so there's always a risk of fire, but the real risk is death because the heart goes into an irregular beat and then stops. He said parents should be aware of an unusual amount of empty aerosol cans around the house, adding, "Families will call us and tell us they don't understand why their child is doing this. They say they can understand cannabis use because it's very out there, but they find inhaling aerosols a very odd thing to do." The British Aerosol Manufacturers Association said it is carrying out a review of the solvent abuse can kill instantly warning on solvents. Chief Executive Patrick Heskins said, "There are a number of warnings which we, as an industry, are required to place on pack by law. The Saki warning is a voluntary, industry recommendation. In conjunction with our member companies, we are carrying out a review of the voluntary warnings carried on pack to ensure that we fully communicate any potential risk, however small, to users. The intention is to ensure that the language used in any warnings best communicates any such risk in a way which is easily understood. We hope to have completed this review before the end of 2024 and will then issue revised guidance for those marketing and manufacturing aerosols."